As Stephanie said, I'm kind of coming in last minute here to share with you guys, and it's actually the way that I love to do things. Because I never really plan the talks that I give. I give these heart talks back in Bali. I just show up and see what happens, and that's really the best way to live wide awake. Because if you had a plan, if you knew exactly what you were going to do, if you're reading off a script, you're not really present, you're not really conscious to what's going on, and you're not really at the edge with that urgency of, I've got to pay attention. But rather you think you already have it all set, and that's when you fall the hardest. That's when the world starts to fall the hardest. That's when everything, all the systems and all the ways that we're doing things unconsciously starts to fall the hardest. And so the first thing that I would invite you all to do is to, one, connect into this present moment. I'm going to ask you to do something that might seem a little hippie to you, and you might notice I've got no shoes on. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. If you got shoes on that you can easily slip off, go ahead and slip them off and just put your feet on the ground. Even though it's an indoor carpet, it's still the ground, and you might notice that it feels different to do that. Something's changed. Your consciousness. All of a sudden, you're a little bit more aware of exactly where you're sitting. You're a little more aware of where your feet are placed. You're a little more aware of that little pain at the tip of your toe, and you're like, what was that going on? You start to become aware of everything that's really happening for you and around you. Now, this morning I woke up and I was thinking a little bit about what I was going to share. But what I was really thinking more about, because it was pretty early, and I flew here from Bali and I had a really early flight, and so I didn't get very much sleep. So what I was actually thinking was, oh, I don't want to wake up. How many of you ever had that feeling? Yeah. So how are we supposed to live wide awake if we're afraid to just get up in the morning? If in the morning we don't even want to open up our eyes to the new day because we're sitting there going, but I didn't get enough of something, whether it be sleep or nourishment or whatever it is, maybe your dream. That was actually one of the things that came through my mind this morning was, it wasn't that I wasn't excited to get up, because I was getting to come here and share with all of you. But there was this idea in my head because I had been having this dream, and when I woke up, I felt like the dream was incomplete, like it had been interrupted in some way. And so I was kind of like, well, I don't want to open my eyes yet, because maybe if I just close them a little longer, if I just stay shut down a little longer, the dream will just happen without me having to do anything but just lay here. We've been talking about this already. If you don't take an action, if you're not actually proactively in the world doing something consciously, nothing is going to change no matter how much you dream about it. You can just sit there dreaming, laying there, hoping that maybe someone else will fix it for you. Someone else will create it for you, and you just step in, you're like, aha, yeah, this is nice. I love the world now. But it's going to be a world that you get to create. And I don't mean the world at large, because that's pretty daunting. But I mean the world of your own individual reality. Can you step into that and just step in and go, oh, I'm the master of my world. I'm the one that's creating it. I'm the one creating the reality around me and the people who are around me. I'm often asked to talk about things of purpose, like finding your purpose. And I find that really funny because it's like as if when you were born, some factory issued out, all right, Rodolfo's purpose, and we'll ship that to him later when he's ready. That's not how it works. Your purpose isn't something that you're going to find. It's not something that you're even going to create or build. Your purpose is the moment that you become on purpose. That means be conscious of whatever you're doing. Right now, you're conscious of where your feet are when you're sitting, and who you're listening to and how you're listening. And maybe the thought that just distracted you in that moment that I said you were listening, because you were like, what am I listening to? Right then, you were conscious, and you were doing it on purpose. And that's it. All you have to do is do things on purpose. It doesn't mean you have to do some world-changing event. You don't have to shift everything. You don't have to have the butterfly effect and flap your wings a little and hope that it creates this tidal wave of change somewhere. But rather just in everything that you do, even if it's in how you eat, if it's in how you walk, if it's in how you're sitting there, if it's in how you do yoga or any practice in the morning, if it's how you write, if it's how you answer a phone call, do it consciously. And in every single step that you're doing things more on purpose is the more you're opening your eyes a little bit wider, and a little bit wider, so that suddenly the dream that you were having when you were laying unconsciously starts to become the dream of your reality. There were some questions in the last panel of, how do we actually really create the things that we want? And again, it comes back to, and how do we fit where we're wanting to create those things? It comes back to, are you there? I find it so funny when people ask me when it's around relationships and connection and how to feel a belonging to people. They're like, I just don't belong, and this and that. And they're telling me all these things, and I can see in their wording. I can see in the way that they're holding themselves. I can see in the way that they're even complaining about it, that they're not present in the moment. Which, how can you belong if you're not there? That makes sense? How can you actually belong if you're not presently there for anybody to notice that you're participating? Which begs the question, are you participating? More than just mentally, but are you actually presently there participating? And that doesn't mean you have to be speaking a bunch. Trust me, I know I've done years of silence. You don't have to speak to be participating, but are you present in the moment, consciously, wide awake, noticing and listening? That's actually the key right there, is are you listening? Are you listening to your own thoughts? Are you listening to what's going on around you? Or listening to the conversations that are being had with you? I love what they were saying earlier about that you can enter into, kind of a networking event, and you can either be sitting there going, oh, here's my card, and then you go home and you're like, I'm not going to look at any of those cards. I wasn't really that interested because I didn't have a connection. You weren't present in that moment, you won't be present later. Can you just be present and start building a relationship, not just with the people around you, but with the world around you and with yourself especially? You can't do that when you're sleeping, unless you've mastered lucid dreaming. Then, hey, you're great. But if you haven't done that, then you're just dreaming unconsciously. Do you guys want to know a little interesting fact about dreams? At least the ones that we have when we're sleeping. The majority of them are reflective. Do you get what that means? It means that they're about something that's already happened, or a feeling, or a fear, or some thought, form, and story that's reflective about a time that has passed. It's not about your future. It's not about where you're going. It's not even where you are at. It's about where you've been, and it's bubbling up inside you through your unconscious mind to your conscious while you're sleeping to go, to be let go, to be released. But we get stuck the same way I was this morning, where I was like, but that dream was unresolved. I need to resolve it. I need to understand it. I need to explain it so that I have control over it. And in that control, then maybe I can make the dream that I want. But then all your energy is invested in old reflective stories that don't exist anymore. Rather than some present moment of imagination that you can say, wow, I can dream forward. So, we look at the consciousness of how we're looking at our ecology in the world and what we're trying to do to change that. And we can fight against the old paradigms, sure. Or we can start new ones. Like many of you already are, and some of the panelists have already been sharing, and Stephanie is sharing, that we are focusing on the future that we can imagine, and that we can start taking the steps today to create and build. But if we're focused on an old paradigm, and in that we think, oh, but I'm very, very conscious, I'm very on purpose because I'm looking at what's the problem, but that's just giving more focus to the problem, which is reflective and is in the past. Let it go. So you have the actual energy, the capacity to step forward. I get a lot of clients that come to me. I do a lot of heart coaching and clarity coaching for people where I'm helping them when they're in transition points, trying to figure out, okay, what's the next step? The first thing I say is you have to do this. Watch. You go like it, very easy. It's fun too. It's kind of a dance move. You go. You turn around. Because if you don't turn around, then you're still looking at all the things that you were and was and wanted to get away from or not happy with or wanted to build upon. You're going, if I could just get away from this, but I don't know where I'm going. It's just not clear. Well, of course not. You're looking the wrong way. All you have to do is turn around and suddenly it becomes clear. This is you asleep. This is you wide awake. Where suddenly now you're seeing what the world is presenting to you to respond to. Rather than the dream that was just trying to come up to be released. That was the past. it comes up into your awareness because it's just like, hey, I'm on my way out. And you're like, no, 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 I don't understand you yet. Let me take a look at you, put you under a microscope so I can see what's the problem. And really make sure I focus and concentrate completely on it. And I just put all my concentration there. I won't see anything else. And then we can't find the solutions either. So you turn around, you let go, and that takes a lot of trust. It takes you actually saying, so that's not going to chase me? No, it's not going to chase you. You turn around, you're like, I know you guys do this. You're laughing, but you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave that relationship. You don't really leave it. Or I'm going to leave that job, and you don't really leave it because it's security that you think is there, but you're not happy. That's the case if you aren't happy. If you're happy in your job, be present in your job. But if there's something more that you want in life, that you want to awaken to in the dreams of the reality you get to build, then you get to let go of this. That's called emptying the cup. And all of a sudden, you have a nice empty cup to be filled up with something new. We talked about this in the first panel, that first something new that gets to be placed in that cup, the thing you start to pour into it, the nourishment is nourishment for you. It's not that you immediately go, because I see this all the time in the conscious communities, is they're kind of like, okay, I let go of all my past, I renounced everything, and now I will go and serve the world. Well, you have nothing to serve the world with. You just renounced it all. Great, renounce that which isn't working for you. Turn around, wide awake, and you're like, I have an empty cup, fill me up. Because everybody on this side is going, hey, we have resources to offer and support you with. Everything over here is leaving you. Everything over here is coming to you. And it starts to fill your cup. If you let it, are you receiving it? Only if you're present. That's why you have to be wide awake in this moment. And so there you are. And you don't even have to do anything. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't mean that you don't respond. I mean, you don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to say, I'm worth it because I did all of this. I suffered. No, you just say, I'm here. That's all that was needed. Was you to show up, present, consciously, on purpose, wide awake, so that all the resources and support, all the tribe that's here, that's collecting with you, could find you. Imagine it like a little app, and until you turn yourself on as wide awake, you don't pop up on the other person's app. So they don't know you're here. And so you're thinking, I'm all alone, I have this huge task in the world to do, how am I going to do it all by myself? And I love what Stephanie said, that when you turn yourself on, meaning you focus in, you change some things personally, that all of a sudden, that's like you press the button on the app, you showed up, a little blinking green light went on for everybody else, and your tribe was like, oh, we have a new one. Come on in. And you found your tribe. And it's a wide awake tribe that's actively, proactively, positively, on purpose, doing something in the world, not alone, but together, and together we get to change things. So I invite you all, be wide awake. All you have to do is this. And you're there. Thank you.